this training video, we will be installing the Higher FlexFit Series Slim Duct Type air handler. The ducted unit is mounted to the building structure using 4 threaded rods. The ducted unit can be connected to a FlexFit single zone or multi-zone model outdoor unit. In this presentation, the ducted unit will be installed in a room that is under construction. The unit will be mounted to the building structure and suspended in the proper position so that the unit will fit in an enclosed soffit area. Always select an installation location where the structure is strong enough to carry the weight of the air handler. Always be certain adequate support is available for the unit. Make certain that the desired location is within maximum allowable distances for the refrigerant lines and electrical wiring. Make certain to maintain proper clearances around the ducted unit. Inadequate clearances can cause system freezing or temperature control problems. Make sure there are adequate clearances for future maintenance and service. Allow for access to the condensate pump assembly and the electrical control box. When the unit is to be installed in an unconditioned air, it is recommended that the unit be wrapped in duct insulation. Follow local codes to determine the required specifications for duct wrapping. Route the refrigerant lines to the area where the ducted unit is to be located. Refrigerant line connections are flare type. The refrigerant line should be connected after the air handler has been securely mounted. Be certain the piping distance between the outdoor unit and the air handler are within specification limits. Follow all local codes and regulations when installing electrical wiring. Route the required electrical power and wired remote cable to the area where the ducted unit is to be located. Maintain at least a 3-foot clearance between unit wiring and sources of electrical interference. Determine and mark the location of where the ducted unit is to be installed. Install the hardware necessary to mount the threaded rods. Always select a location strong enough to support the indoor unit. With mounting positions marked and the appropriate hardware installed, install the threaded rods to the structure. Lift the ducted unit and position the threaded rods into the 4 mounting clips located on each corner of the ducted unit. The clips are designed so the nuts and washers on the threaded rods will hold the ducted unit in place as it is set onto the rods. Adjust the nuts on the threaded rods to obtain the proper mounting height. Next, make adjustments to the threaded rod nuts to obtain perfect level across the bottom of the unit. Prior to routing the refrigerant lines to the unit, install the flare nuts onto the ends of the refrigerant lines. Using a flaring tool, flare the fitting connections. Remove the shipping caps from the refrigerant line connection fittings. The holding charge gas should leak out. Connect both refrigerant line flare nuts to the indoor unit refrigerant line connections. Using a torque wrench, tighten the fittings to the appropriate inch-pounds as indicated in the installation guide. After the total installation of the lines is complete and the system has been leak tested and evacuated, cover the refrigerant line connections with insulated tape provided with the ducted unit. The ducted unit air handler has a built-in condensate pump and condensate safety switch. The discharge fittings of the condensate pump is shown here. The pump is capable of lifting water 24 inches from the pump discharge port location. A gray flexible connection hose is supplied with the ducted unit. The gray connection hose is connected to the condensate pump discharge port. The supplied clamp should be tightened to secure the hose to the ducted unit. 3/4 inch PVC piping will fit into the end of the gray connection hose. Use 3/4 inch PVC piping to complete the connection to the condensate drain system. When using the condensate pump, configure the 3/4 inch PVC piping to prevent condensate from backing up to the unit. If higher lift is needed, the water from the ducted unit condensate discharge pump should be pumped to another field supplied condensate pump. The unit also has 2 gravity drain ports that can be used to drain the condensate. If these ports are selected, the internal condensate pump should be disabled. Make certain the outdoor unit power is off. Also make certain no one has connected any wires between the outdoor unit and the indoor unit we are about to work on. Remove the ducted unit's electrical box cover. Electrical wiring entry point is made by removing the rubber grommet at the indoor unit, using reducing washers and a 1/2-inch connector to route the electrical wiring into the electrical box. 14-gauge AWG stranded wires should be used to make the electrical connection between the indoor and outdoor units. This wiring will serve to power the indoor unit and establish a communication link between indoor and outdoor units. The wiring is connected at the indoor unit electrical terminal block screws 1, 2, 3, and ground. There should be no splices in the wires connected to terminals 1 or 3, as these serve as communication signal wires and also electrical power connections. If a condensate safety switch is needed, you should break wire 2 only. With the field installed wiring attached to the proper screws at the indoor unit, next, connect the wired remote control cable. The wired remote control cable enters the electrical box through a grommet located just above the electrical cable. The wired remote control cable plugs into connector CN1 on the main control board of the ducted unit. The indoor unit wiring is now complete. Reinstall the electrical box cover. When completing the wiring at the outdoor unit, please be certain to ensure that the wires connected to screw terminal blocks 1, 2, 3, and ground from the outdoor unit connect to terminal screws 1, 2, 3, and ground at the indoor unit. Miswiring of line voltage and feeding it into a data line can cause damage to the system. The unit is now ready for connection to the ductwork. The total external static this system is capable of operating with is 0.16 inches water column. The system was designed primarily to be installed in a soffit. The return air ducting can come into the bottom of the unit or through the back. The unit comes from the factory with rear return air connection option open. If bottom return is desired, simply remove the cover that covers the bottom opening for the return air on the unit and place it in the opening from the rear. Return air can now be drawn into the bottom of the unit. The supply air should be blown straight out the front of the unit. A short length of duct may be connected to the front of the unit and then connected to a supply air diffuser. Remember, these systems are primarily designed to be installed in a soffit type of installation. The total available static pressure for all ductwork and return air grill and supply diffuser is 0.16 inches of static pressure. When installing a duct to the front of the unit or even to the return, the length should be kept to a minimum. The ducted unit is now ready to be checked for refrigeration and condensate water leaks. Once leak testing is completed, the wiring from the indoor unit can now be connected to the outdoor unit, and the installation of other indoor units and outdoor unit can proceed.